Hello friends, PC Careman speaking here. Okay, we all know that Windows 8.1 has been out now for quite a while, and we also know that some people, tech people, have already tested it and done some videos on it. So I decided to take my time before posting the video because I wanted to basically find my way around it and to make sure I was happy with it before I decided to do recording. Okay, so this is basically my own desktop background here. If you right click, go to personalize. You can set the Windows default themes here. You've got 3 by default, and obviously you can get more backgrounds online if you click get more themes. Okay, now there's 2 ways to the control panel or more. Okay, so basically you have a yellow folder here at the bottom left hand corner. If you click here, you can click open control panel, or if you wish, if you move your mouse over to the right, go to search, type in control, panel, you can actually search for it here. Let's see. And you can bring up your control panel this way. So let me take it out. Now, Windows 8.1 is still pretty new, and on some computers you might find that possibility that it sort of freezes from time to time, depending on your computer and what you're running in the background. Also, I have put a control panel here on my taskbar. If I go to the left hand corner, click below the desktop here, you have a small arrow, drops down. If you click it here, this will take you to your programs. So for an example, if you wanted Skype shortcut in the desktop, you'd right click, then you will see a green bar open up at the bottom of your screen, and you basically click pin to taskbar or install or whatever. So if you click continue to taskbar, you will notice that Skype is now sitting as a shortcut. So if you open up your control panel, basically it's something similar to Windows 7. You can view large icons. Now, to add features to Windows 8.1, if you did already have Windows 8 on, and you did apply to Microsoft whenever they were giving out a free key for the media player and etc., you could have used this. But if you go to use this now, you have to pay a small fee for it, for a few extra plugins for your media player. The left hand corner, basically this will bring up your Metro apps, they call them. They'll probably change the name. This would be your store. Okay, or you can basically do it this way. Move your mouse over, click start, type in store, and it is supposed to bring up your store button for you, which here, then you can click it. Okay, so there's a couple of ways you can do it for handiness. I honestly believe Windows 8.1 is still a wee bit buggy on it. I am using it with 6 gigs of DDR3, and this is actually a new computer, but I have noticed that sometimes it can be a bit buggy. Now it is possibility because I'm running Commercial Studio Recorder here, video, could be a problem because there is some programs aren't compatible with Windows 8.1 yet. It was the same with Windows 8 when it came out. You can make these smaller if you wish. Okay, you can resize them, or you can turn the live tile off. Okay, so that's that one turned off. or you can turn it back on. Okay, so if that's Facebook one, then because I have another system I can turn that one off. Okay, so let's go to the store and have a nosy in the store, and then I will talk about a few simple settings. I don't want to bore you with too much details with all the wee ins and outs, you know. If you know how to use a control panel on Windows 7, you should have no problem on Windows 8.1. Up here you have a search, okay. So if you're looking for games, you type in GAMES, and this is how I do it, and you'll see a list here. So if I go to games here, and I want to put a game on for one of the grandchildren or something like that there, I do have quite a list. I can also change the category here by going to social or entertainment, and it'll throw me up 1,000 apps. Now Netflix is free. Free as an app, but you have to pay to use it. So if I click on Netflix here and I want to install it in this particular computer, just click install. Now it'll also offer me related apps to do with it, okay, and it is installing Netflix in the top right hand corner. So if I go back here and I can scroll through all these different ones here, or I can type in, let's see if I type in Google. Okay, it'll give me Google search. Now this particular one in 8.1 here, you can actually set it by using your microphone to search for a particular app. It does take some getting used to, because sometimes when you say home, depending on your lingo, it'll take you to some other site. So I don't think the voice activation is 100% yet. It'll also offer you one search for free tool. If I want that, I just highlight it. And I should be able to read some documentation about it coming up here. And it says some documentation about it. Okay, so let's go back. So this is basically how you can use the apps, okay. Now you can basically download programs by using your browser, the like of Malwarebytes, Super Anti-Spyware and stuff like that. Now they'll also sometimes throw you up picks depending on the model of your computer, and it'll give you a few dynamos or special edition games. So if you want something to sort of pass the time, well then you can play dynamos, just click install. They do have paid apps obviously if you want to pay, but like yourselves, I prefer to use free apps. Everybody likes free, depending on where you're getting it from. Now these would be the top paid ones, and these would be the top free ones, like a Facebook, Skype, Netflix, Twitter, Adobe Photoshop Express, which is basic for adjusting your photographs and taking the red eyes out and shortening them up, changing the backgrounds, and etc. Also they offer you Explore 3D free. So if you look here, it'll say related apps. So you could go on and on and on. So basically that's how you install an app on Windows 8.1. The same as Windows 8 was slightly different, so they sort of dressed it up a wee bit on the 8.1. Now 8.1 comes with the same as Windows 7, a firewall, and it already has Bitdefender in it, and you can run your system on that. Now go back to the desktop here. The Windows Firewall here, let's go back to the normal settings, System and Security, your Windows Firewall. Okay, depending on how you set it up. Okay, so if you go to here, turn Windows Firewall on or off, you can block incoming connections. but allow outgoing. Okay, so that, to me, that would be sort of a security feature that you could use without tying your system down too much. Also, if you're not using a wireless printer, turn it off. We've talked about Skype. If you add people to your Skype and you find out that the person you bought it doesn't turn out to be the person that you thought it was, or whatever, well, they can go to the command prompt and type in that state command and get the IP addresses on your Skype. Now, what can they do with them? They can hit them with flutters, they can knock you offline, and they can mess you about. Unfortunately, some people are on what they call a static IP address. And if you're on a static IP address, which basically means that it'll not really change unless you contact your ISP and explain why you want it changed. Okay. Most of us are quite lucky. We can refresh our IP using the command features, or we can change our IP at random. Some of us are lucky enough to do that. It is possible to slip up. Now, some people like giving out their Skype because either they're helping to manage a server and they find it handier to talk to people. You have to keep something in mind. Not everyone is genuine. And if you happen to ban someone and they want to get you back, if they get your IP address, they can hit you with a DOS attack and they can play with your head. Okay, so you can always keep that in mind before you decide to start dishing out this and dishing out that. Now, everybody has a different opinion of the internet. Some people say it's what you make of it and how you use it. That's true in a sense, but you also have to remember the internet is the internet. In a sense that you can be scammed, you can be conned, and you also can lose money out of your bank if your system doesn't have some sort of protection. You can have your email account hijacked, and you also can lose money and stuff like that. So there's more to the internet than just sticking a security program on and hoping it's going to protect you. Unfortunately, Microsoft operating systems do have quite a number of services built into them. And to give you an example, if you go to your control panel, go to categories and go to large icons just for handiness, go to administration, tools. Here you will have one called services. And you'll have quite a number of services in here that your system uses. Unfortunately, some of these services can be exploited, and there's quite a number of ways of hacking people's computers through some of the services. So if you start to learn your operating system and you start to understand that unfortunately someone has found a way of hacking through your printer service, as an example, your Telenet service would be another one. There's quite a number that can be exploited, and unfortunately this is the internet, and that's why I say it's the internet. It is up to you as an individual to learn them things. Some programmers, believe it or not, even though they're good at programming, don't fully understand the security neediness of a computer. Okay, that can happen because they study one particular subject or another. Okay, so whether you're using Vista, whether you're using a Mac or Linux, there is services that can be exploited and certain ways that people can get access through computers. Now, I have been doing a lot of research for a person who is a good friend of mine over the years, and unfortunately people like to play games with certain people. So there's quite a number of ways that people can flood your system by knocking you off the air, and a lot of ways they can trick you out. Some people would say, PC Careman, what the F do you know about computers? And my answer would be, I know enough to be dangerous. That would be my answer. So I understand basically how the internet works, and of course we'll all learn something new every day. So Windows 8.1, I am using Google Chrome. I do use Firefox, I do use Opera, I do use Safari, and also a couple of Japanese browsers that are out. I like to test different programs from time to time. Firefox browser would be a popular browser that people would use from time to time. I do not save passwords on my computer. I try to memorize them or write them down some way or another. Computers can be protected up to a certain extent, and they also can be very vulnerable. Okay, there is plug-in tools and add-in tools. I also never remember history. And you also can clear a certain amount of information. We're just basically learning how to use the browser in the first place. You also can have a few plugins called extensions, and these would be a couple that I would use. This one here, self-destruct cookies, is quite handy. Now, do not track me, and the video helper, they're like a what and stuff like that there, which would be a guidelines for a wise person. So there was a few updates for Windows 8.1, I believe last week or the week before, and there's basically flaws and basically some updates. People were having trouble with their mouse and stuff like that. Okay, now there is a few settings over here. If you go to, move your mouse over to the right hand corner of your screen and go to settings, and you go to click change settings, you will see a few settings here that are slightly different in Windows 8.1 than they were in Windows 8. And this would be your lock and preview screen. That would be your display settings, your devices, and your touchpad, your typing, corner edges, autoplay, and PC information. You also would have privacy here. Let the apps access my name, pictures, and other kind of information. You can turn that off. Let apps using the advertising ID for experiencing, turn that off. Leave the smart filter on, and let websites provide local relevant content by accessing my language list. You can either turn it on or leave it off. Location. Let Windows apps use my location. If you're not happy with it, you can turn it off. You've got a webcam, microphone, and other devices. Okay, so just basically play about with the settings. So I'm not going to bore you with all this crap. Just basically learn to use it. Also understand that if you go to your Olive folder, you right click here, go to properties. You do have a few settings in it, the same as Windows 7. They're like a remote settings. And you notice allow remote access allow remote assistance connection to my computer is off. Okay, so just a few settings there as if you would set up your Windows 7. and also your network connections, network and sharing. If you have a wireless printer and you want to share it with your network, fair enough. If you don't want all your computers on your network, turn them off. Quite simple. Windows 8.1 by Microsoft. Also, your updates are set automatically. If you go to your control panel, just type in U, click for updates. You can do it manually, and you won't be notified it because it is set to be automatic. If you go here to change settings, you will see that install updates automatically recommended. I have mine set for that, and I think most of them are by default. Also, if you do have a problem with your hardware, go to your device manager. And open up your device manager. This is basic information, friends. These should be your devices. If you've got a problem and there's a red mark here, then the driver's not installed. If it's yellow, you've got a problem. Okay, so for instance, if it was your display adapter, you double click it, it'll tell you what's working, and also driver, and you click update drivers and basically search for another driver. Okay, if you do have a problem with it, so it's pretty simple to sort out. If you want to use the command prompt, you have to run it as administrator privileges, CMD, and it should throw it up. If it doesn't throw it up the first time, then basically it might be this program that I'm running in the background doing this that's causing it to freeze. So if you don't get it open there first time, all you basically have to do is see if I can open this. Go to the drop down menu and go to the CMD, Windows command. If you right click here, you can pin it to your taskbar for handy. And you want to close that. So if it's sitting in your taskbar, right click, go to it and right click again and run as administrator. So if you've never used the command prompt before, if you type the word help in, you will get a load of some information. These are basic commands, okay? And if you were to type in DAR, it'd give you all your directories. That will give you all the directories for your computer. So you want to learn the basics first. If you want to check your hard drive, you type in chk dsk/f to fix or whatever. Okay, so you can also type in ipconfig/all, and it'll give you the IP addresses, okay, in your system. And you can do a lot of nasty stuff by using the command prompt too. Okay, so that you can learn yourself. If I type in control panel, basically it'll open up the control panel. Okay, there's the control panel opened. Okay, if I type in time, it should give me the time. Okay, the current time is whatever it's set for. And you can type in cleared. Okay, so there's a list of bash commands on the internet. You can use the command prompt actually to target another computer, believe it or not, and also to scan. You can do basically anything as long as you know the commands for it. That I do know because I learned that quite a number of years ago. So if I was basically to type CD, and it'll change the directory or move it to a special file folder. Okay. I want to create a repair system partition. I would type in BCD boot. Okay, BOOT, all one. So it's the same as using Linux terminal. When you start using Linux terminal on the Mac, you soon learn. Okay, Windows 8.1, what I think about it. So-so, okay, so-so. I believe Windows 9 will be better. And you do have help on this too, okay, Windows Help and Support. So anybody that's thinking of moving to Windows 8.1, first of all you need Windows 8 on your computer, or you can basically go through the processes of downloading Windows 8, cancel out, and then install Windows 8.1. Okay, so that's a wee tip. But it's an update from Windows 8 to Windows 8.1. Some programs aren't compatible at the minute, and some are. Also, if you right click, you can personalize your screen settings and stuff like that. Also, you can move your mouse up to the top left hand corner, and if I do that, that'll bring up the last one that was open. Go back, and as you can see here, you can go to the start button here and back to your desktop. If you want it to look like Windows 7, you can install Classic Shell start button, and it'll put it to like Windows 7 if you find that. If you right click on it here, you've also got shortcuts here to your device manager, your task manager. Now your task manager, you right click on your taskbar, open up your task manager. It is different than Windows 7. That would be your startup programs and your processes. If you want to basically close one, you can go here, end task, close the store, and you can also go to your services and stuff like that. If you want to put it into safe mode, you have to bring your configuration system up, your startup configuration. You have to change your boot frequency to safe mode. When you reboot, it'll go into safe mode. You've got to change it back in safe mode when you're finished to basically go back into normal mode. With Windows 7, you can tap the F8 on your keyboard when you're rebooting. With Windows 8, you've got to work at a different angle with it. Okay, I've probably missed a few things, friends. Okay, you do have Windows Disk Cleanup on it, defragmentation. So what I would recommend to anyone that has just bought a new computer, before they consider going on the internet, make sure that you don't leave it open. You get all your updates, all your programs are up to date, and you find yourself some sort of protection for your computer. And don't give out information, and don't click on links. Okay, if you click on a link, you've wasted your time. You can also watch extra stuff there too, and stuff like that. If you've been using Windows 7, you will find it a wee bit strange at the start, but you will find your way around it. There's Gail and a few people that I know over the years. Okay, thank you very much. PC Careman.